When they built this shack, all the wood was green, and so when it dried, the wind was easily able to get through the cracks in the side, and they'd have huge windstorms, and the windstorms would beat on them, and the sand would come up on them right through into the shack that they lived in. They also probably were the ones that planted this tree. As you can see from the surrounding area, there's not many trees, and so I'm guessing, but they probably planted that tree right there. It has some fruit on it, and they probably planted that tree as well, those group of trees. It's actually one big tree, for some shade and for some comfort from the heat. But yeah, this was where my grandmother on my mother's side lived as a newlywed and raised 5 children until they ended up moving up to Provo. In addition to that, her mother and father lived out here on the Buckhorn Flat, somewhere nearby. We don't know exactly where. They were raised out here as well. They raised their children out here, the Edwards side of my family. And so this was it, and this was a pretty lonely outpost. You can see out there's I-15. We're right here, just about in between Beaver and Cedar City, in between Beaver and Parowan, and there's a dairy down the road. But this was the place that they lived, and I just have a lot of admiration for my ancestors, and I hope that anybody who's watching this would have admiration for someone who would be willing to live their life like this and make sacrifices in order to start anew and to start a new life. And we all are the recipients of the blessings of these people and the hard work that they did. Also remember that wherever you are in your life right now, most likely you're not living in a shack like this. And so those who went before you have endured many hard things for you. Now, if you are living in a shack, remember that those who went before you know exactly what you're going through, and they love you. And I have a testimony that families are forever, and that the bonds that we make in the temple, through the covenants we make there, are eternal. And so, even though my grandmother's not here right now, and she could tell me lots of stories, she's been here, obviously, and I know that I felt her influence in my life for good. And I hope that whoever's watching this will look at their ancestors with gratitude.